Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Today on the program, consumers of Metro Manila and nearby provinces need to wait longer.
We have an Angat supply deficit of about 350 million liters per day to 400 million liters per day.
Before water supply returns to normal.
Hanggang August pa po makaka-recover yung tubig in terms of pag-uulan.
Angat Dam continues to hit its lowest level as rains hardly come.
Pagka magbigay siya ng ulan na 300 plus in a day, aabot po siya ng 180.
Fast-tracking short and long-term water shortage solutions.
The proposed long-term solution is to create a department of water so that there is a department that is thinking of all these things.
National Water Resources Board Executive Director Sevillo David Jr. and Pag-asa hydrologist Elmer Caringal join us live. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pinky Webb. Metro Manila residents and those living in nearby provinces will have to endure longer water supply interruptions as water in Angat Dam, Manila's major water source, continues to dip below critical levels. Government officials told lawmakers in a House probe that consumers can expect water supply to return to normal level if nature cooperates and the watershed will receive adequate rainfall. With prolonged water woes making the people's patience run dry, is it time to create a department of water? Let's go straight to the source of the story. We have National Water Resources Board Executive Director Sevillo David Jr. Director David, thank you for being here. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Pinky. Good morning.
Okay, it's been very unfortunate, not just the past couple of weeks, but even back in March due to this water shortage. Let's talk about the situation now, Director. Water interruptions again being felt in Metro Manila and nearby provinces. And is this strictly because of the reduced allocation by the NWRB, which you head, to the water companies such as Manila Water and Maynilad, sir?
Yes, if we can, we would like to clarify that 96 to 97% of the water supply for Metro Manila comes from the Angat Dam. So this is the main source, primarily the main source of water supply for Metro Manila. So the availability of water from the Angat Dam will also relate to how the normalcy, how normal will be the service of water service or supply of service in the Metro Manila area. So in this case, since May 2019 or May this year, since May, the water level in Angat Dam breached the 180 minimum operating level. So we consider this 100 minimum operating level. If we breach that level,
180,
we are prioritizing water supply from the releases from Angat, because the Angat Dam also caters to the irrigation in Bulacan and Pampanga.
Right.
But once we breach that level, so most of the water coming from Angat Dam is now dedicated to water supply.
Ibig sabihin, sir, yung tubig talaga natin for irrigation and for the consumers for our daily needs, 97% is actually coming from the Angat Dam.
Yes, primarily water supply for Metro Manila.
Correct, sir.
Yes, yes.
Metro Manila and ano pa, because there are nearby provinces as well.
Yes,
Are we talking about Rizal?
It includes also Rizal areas. Some areas in Bulacan also relies on some releases from Angat Dam, as well as some portion of Cavite area.
Director, if that is so parang ang supplier po natin, just so it's clearer to many of us, parang ang supplier po ng tubig ay Angat Dam.
Yes, that's correct.
And the two concessionaires, Maynilad and Manila Water, tama ho bang intindi ko, sila lang yung distributor?
Yes, okay. So they will distribute from the water that is released from Angat primarily,
Right.
that's 96 to 97% nga. So in terms of decisions on releasing how much water will be released now for NWSS in particular, because NWSS is the one who's regulating or supervising these regulators. So normally we release it through NWSS. So if the decision in allocating that's realized with NWRB.
Ibig sabihin ng NWRB decides how much should be allocated to the water concessionaires. Tama ho ba?
No. More precisely, more specifically, to MWSS. And
Yes,
then MWSS is the one allocating this further for the use of the concessionaires.
Right, sir. I was actually going to get to that. NWRB says we're only releasing so much water, but it doesn't tell it straight to the water concessionaires. Dumadaan po ho sila ng MWSS, and then MWSS is the one telling the water concessionaires, basically Manila and
In terms of
Manila.
sharing how much water.
That's right, sir. Pero the decision ultimately is coming from the NWRB.
Yes.
All right, because the function of the NWRB in your website, of course, sir, says that you manage the country's water resources.
Yes.
You regulate the use of water resources through the issuance of permits, and you also regulate water systems by service providers. Okay, sir. So, let me ask you this question. Pag nawawalan ho kami ng tubig, yung mga Pilipino sa Metro Manila, ang ikinagagalit po namin ay ang Manila Water at Maynilad.
Yeah.
Simply, sir, is it their fault?
We have to, first we have to clarify what are the underlying issues on what is the cause of this, kung bakit nawawalan nga ng tubig. In this case, one of the main factors really is the low level of Angat, because right now what we are releasing, what we are currently releasing for NWSS and further to the concessionaires is around more than 20% lower from the normal releases that they are receiving. So because normally we allocate around 4,000 million liters per day or 4 billion liters per day.
4 billion liters.
Yes,
Okay.
that's daily, so that's the daily allocation normally that we are releasing, so that we have a normal water supply service for the Metro Manila populations. And in this case, with the continuing decline of the water level in Angat since May, so we started to reduce further reduce the allocation. So by, I think, 2 or 3 weeks ago, because of this continuing decline, we reduced the allocation from 46 cubic meters per second or 4 billion liters per day to around 40 cubic meters per second, equivalent to around 3,500 million, 3.5 billion liters per day.
Parang mas madali ho intindihin yung, kahit na mahirap intindihin yung billion, kasi
Yes,
yung isa
yes,
pong
yes.
measurement
It's more
ninyo.
technical.
Yeah, okay. So, what
It's
you
just-
used to, what Metro Manila and these nearby provinces need is about 4 billion liters per day, which
Yes,
is allowed by the NWRB
Yes,
for to release, to release,
Yes, from the
so that Angat will stay on its, kasi may word dyan, operational level of 180 meters. Because nagkulang na po ang tubig dyan sa Angat Dam, ang imbis na 4 billion, 3.5 billion liters
That
a
was
day na lang.
2 weeks ago, I believe.
Okay, and then now,
And then
how
now
much is it?
was further reduced because of this. We already reached what we call a 160 critical level now for water supply, and we are not yet seeing some significant rainfall in the Angat Dam. So we further reduced that to around 3.1 billion liters per day.
I see. That's an average of, is that 20%, sir? Possibly 25% na yan. Lower than
so
what is...
from the original, it'd be around 20% difference now.
Again, so now I understand that, sir, especially because since May, the water in Angat Dam has been going down slowly because kulang nga po sa tubig. So let me ask you that question. In the situation that we are faced with now, itong May and June, sir, is it the water concessionaire's fault na walang tubig?
Right now, this shortage that the consumers in Metro Manila are facing, primarily can be attributed to the lack of water releases from the Angat Dam.
In other words, sir,
it's
walang
not further
supply.
released. Yes,
Kulang
there are
yung supply.
limited supply.
Yeah,
Kulang supply.
kulang ang
yeah,
supply.
yeah, yeah.
So they're not to be blamed. Am I correct in saying that?
As far as the limited supply that we are releasing now, we believe that's the case,
Yeah.
because that's one of the issue of where can we attribute this shortage that our consumers are experiencing now.
Yeah.
But of course, how is this further distributed or allocated to the consumers, I think that's mainly the role of the
That's another
concessionaires.
question, how they distribute it.
Yes,
Because in yesterday's hearing, Oversight Committee hearing, the concessionaires were also using this word called force majeure, which they wrote a letter, I believe, to the MWSS, stating why there is obviously a lack of supply, force majeure, in other words, meaning an act of God. Hindi po nila, it's not man-made. Hindi po kasalanan ng tao yon. So, force majeure meaning, Director, that the water level in Angat Dam continues to go down.
Yes, because right now we are one of the causes the insufficient rainfall that
Yeah.
are that's supposed to fill up or recharge the dams at this time,
Yeah.
which is not happening.
And sir, we were showing you two different analogies, or video rather, of how Angat was in March. That was 3 months ago of 2019 compared to June of 2019, sir. That is a significant reduction of the water
you can see
there.
I think some islands or really there was a significant reduction.
Nakikita ko pa yung puno dun sa taas kanina, tapos
Yeah.
bumaba na.
Yes,
Dito sa ilalim, kanina hindi pa nakikita yung puno. Like this one, sir. Hindi ho ba? So that just shows you how much reduction of water there is right now in Angat Dam. So my question is, sir, whose responsibility is it now to have adequate water supply, knowing that the water in Angat Dam has slowly been decreasing?
Yeah, the issue, how can we address the current deficit that we are facing, considering that from Danga Dam, there are some limitation now in the releases. So right now, we're trying to find some alternative sources. From first, with the immediate, with the current situation that we are facing now, and of course, trying to prevent these things to happen in the near future. So in the next years to come. So right now, we're trying to look at the deep wells in Metro Manila as possible sources that can at least, not that significantly, but at least a portion of it can address the current deficit that we're facing now. And of course, some treatment plants have been developed already from the Laguna Lake to extract or treat water from the Laguna Lake, which are now being operated by the concessionaires.
Yeah, I think there's one by either Manila Water or Manila that was recently tapped.
They both have in Putatan, in Muntinlupa, and then the Cardona treatment.
That one in
also.
Cardona.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be taking a short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guests today, NWRB Executive Director Sevillo David Jr. And joining us on the line now is Pag-asa hydrologist Elmer Caringal. Elmer, good morning to you. Thank you for joining us on the phone. Elmer? All right, Elmer is a hydrologist, of course, from Pag-asa, and I wanted to ask him about the situation right now in Angat Dam, and also because in yesterday's Oversight Committee, Pag-asa was already saying that it might take until August before water normalizes in Angat Dam. And sir, when we say normalize, that means it goes back to the 180 meters operational level.
It will go up above the 180 operating level.
Let's show them this graph that you have, sir. Let me hold this, and you can possibly explain this to us.
Yeah. So this is the graph of the previous year's elevation in Angat Dam. So as you can see, in the red line here, that was in 2010.
Yan yung pinakamababa.
There we reached the lowest recorded elevation in Angat Dam at 157.57 meters.
157,
Yes.
okay.
So this year, today, we are here at around 158.4 meters. So we are now a little around 1 meter.
We're just 1
less
meter
than-
away
Yeah, 1
from
meter
the lowest
away
recorded
from
ever.
the lowest recorded.
Uh-huh.
So considering that right now, the decline of the level in Angat Dam is around 0.35 to 0.4 meters per day. So we might be reaching that same elevation in the next couple of days or before this weekend. We might be lower than that.
And what can we expect if that happens, sir? Because if in 2010, it was at its lowest at 157.57 and posibleng umabot na po ito lowest ngayon in the next couple of days, ano ho ang epekto nito?
What we, for NWRB and its and the stakeholders, including NWSS, what we will do is we will further review the current level, and then of course the climate projections from Pagasa are very important because what will we expect in the next couple of days, and of course particularly in the next month, because that will be crucial because the current available water in the dam, then we have to manage it in such a way that it will reach until such time that rainfall will be significantly coming in the Angat watershed.
Until it gets to 180
Yes,
meters operational.
Or start recovering above the 160 level.
Yeah, all right. I think we have on the line now Pag-asa hydrologist Elmer Caringal. Elmer, hi.
Hi, Pinky.
Elmer,
Good morning.
hi. Oh, so kamusta na ang Angat and meron bang pag-ulan na tayo, meron bang mga pag-ulan tayong maaasahan?
Actually, Pinky, yung based on dun sa report sa amin as of 6 a.m. today, is halos bumaba pa rin po yung Angat Dam. Ang kanyang present elevation is 158.4. Bumaba pa siya halos ng 0.37 meters or 37 centimeters. Meron po tayong na-observe na pagulan doon pero light lang. Hindi po sapat para umangat yung water elevation ng Angat.
Elmer, ang sabi ng Pag-asa sa Oversight Committee hearing kahapon, posibleng bumalik sa 180 na operational level. Kumbaga, August pa daw babalik sa dati itong Angat Dam. Tama ba yun?
Based dun sa projection namin is by August or September. Depende dun sa dalang ulan po nung inaasahan nating papasok na 2 to 3 na bagyo.
Oh, here's the hard part, Elmer and Director, no? Alam naman natin it's not a perfect science ang typhoon, ang pag-ulan, at kahit nga Elmer sabihin natin na may 2 o 3 bagyong dumating pumasok dito sa Philippine Area of Responsibility. Number 1, depende pa yan sa dami ng ulan, at number 2, depende pa kung tatama dun sa watershed ng Angat.
Opo, tama po, tama.
So, what is this, Elmer? Is this a wait and see? Ganun na lang ho ba?
Parang gano'n na lang po yung pwede nating asahan kasi nga po, yun nga sabi natin, hindi po exact science yan kasi po yung bagyo may kanya-kanya rin pong kategorya yan, minsan depression o typhoon, depende po sa ano or yun sa dami ng ulan na dala niya. So, mangyayari po, kung yun nga yung 2 to 3, kung medyo maraming ulan siyang dala, so by August or September, baka po ando na siya dun sa operational level na 180.
Alright, maraming salamat kay Elmer Caringal, Pag-asa hydrologist and director. Kapag umabot na dun sa 180, it just means na balik din tayo sa normal. Wala na talaga itong mga water interruptions na nararanasan natin ngayon.
As much as possible, that's what we wanted to do. No? But of course, we wanted to manage also the dam in its in the requirements of our consumers in Metro Manila in the next for the rest of the year, no? Because we cannot just bring this the allocation to normal and then at the end of the year then we are back again, no? To the same situation. And likewise, we also have to consider the irrigation requirements, no? Because above 180, the farmers in Bulacan also wanted to have their share, no, from the receipts from the Angat Dam. So we have some competing use there, so we have to consider these requirements and try to address that as much as possible. But we wanted to, as much as possible, maintain the allocation of the consumers in Metro Manila at a normal level.
But Director, isn't it the mandate of the NWRB or the MWSS to make sure that there is an adequate water supply? This happens every year, sir, that summer happens every year, that possibly there is little rainfall every year, especially in the months of April, March, April, and May. What has the NWRB done or the MWSS done in order to mitigate these problems or these loopholes?
Yeah, that's the role of the NWRB, no, as far as the Angat Dam. That's why we try to manage, no, the releases, no, for the various competing use, no, for which are users from the Angat Dam. However, in fact, we started very high, no, this year, no, at 214. No? We started the level at early this year at 214, and in Normally it's 212, so but we tried to increase that to 114 in anticipation of this projection of Pag-asa that we might be facing this El Nino. No? However, the situation is the rains that this week El Nino, as Pag-asa projected previously, there might be some reduction in the rainfall.
Yeah.
However, in the previous months, it's not as the reduction of the rainfall is very significant, which already affected the decline or rapid decline of the elevation in Angat Dam.
But Director, because 97% of the water is coming from Angat, isn't it, I'm asking, sir, the job of the NWRB or the MWSS to look for alternative sources of water? Because again, typhoons and rainfall is not a perfect science. And you can't tell, sir, kahit na sabihin niyo po, I hope you don't mind my asking, I'm just challenging you that even if you said that in January there's so much, my understanding is there's so much water in Angat, who's to say that next year ganun ho mangyayari? And who's to say na yung pagbaba po ay magiging significant? I mean, isn't it your job or the MWS to look for another source of water, sir?
Yes, it's the job of the government, in fact. No?
Okay.
We could say, no, but on the part of NWRB, we already identified some rivers, no, or some rivers where other alternative water sources can be developed. So we already granted. Because NWR is granting permits for water permits. No? So we already given NWSS permits to develop some rivers in and around Metro Manila.
Is this what you call the WPA, sir, water permit allocation? Is this
Water
the one?
permits. So part of the mandate of NWRB is the regulation of water sources and water resources through the granting of water permits.
So you told MWSS here, you can grant these water permits. Tama ho ba yun, sir? Para to simplify it.
We identified those resources, and NWSS applied for a permit for those, and which NWRB already granted. So right now, those potential water sources are now with NWSS to develop.
Why aren't they developing it, sir?
Of course, it's a question of developing the infrastructure. No, right now, I think right now the NWSS has planned to develop a lower Kaliwa Dam, which is in Quezon part, and we are hoping that will be the construction of this structure will be sooner, so that it can address the current requirement of Metro Manila.
Would you submit, sir, that government has been slow in looking for alternative water resources?
I think yes, we could say, because those it has been years that it has been recognized the need to develop alternative water sources.
Right.
But I think this time, the government is determined, to start the development of those water resources.
We'll be taking another short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, NWRB Executive Director Sevillo David Jr. Sir, at least you said that, government was a little slow in looking for alternative water resources. Kasi siguro it's fair to ask, taon-taon ho ba, ganito na lang ang maararanasan natin, as if kakaiba yung nangyari ngayong taon dun sa mga previous years?
Yeah, I think we have to really implement those projects now, which I think the current government is determined to do. Yan lang po yung natin. So we are very hopeful now that these projects will be soon constructed so that it can address, if not fully, at least yung mga our requirements and the future requirements.
We really need to look for another source rather than other than Angat. So yung sinasabi po ng ilang mga grupo na dapat daw pagmultahin yung mga water concessionaires. Do you believe that, especially now that you are saying that it is force majeure, it is an act of God, it is ang Angat Dam that has been, yung hindi naman sinadya ng tao ang pagbaba ng level ng tubig sa Angat Dam, sir?
I believe it's for NWSS, maybe a more in position para to determine if the concessionaires will be fine in this situation.
Yeah, but if they do not have water, how can they distribute water? I guess that's my question, sir.
Yeah, of course.
I'm sorry, let me correct that. If they do not have enough or as much water as they used to, how can they distribute as much as they?
Yeah, that could be one reason. No? Of course, there's also the issue on the distribution part, no? How it is being distributed to the consumers.
Tsaka yung
I think-
schedules na binibigay
Yeah,
nila.
so I think that's for NWSS.
Okay, sir. Fair enough. At Department of Water, there's been a lot of talk about this. Even during the campaign, sir, there were a number of senators who were saying that it's time to create a Department of Water. Why? Sir, nalilito ang tao. May NWRV, may MWSS, may water concessioners, may LUA. Ano ho ba to? Do you agree that it's time?
Yeah, first we have to agree that water is very important. No? So we are saying that water is life, very vital to our daily lives. No? So I think the water situation has to be managed properly. Right now we have around 30 agencies, no? With various functions, water-related functions, and I believe it's about time for a certain specific agency that will supervise all these functions and to develop a more comprehensive program for our people.
Is
in terms
30
of
too
water
much?
security.
Are 30 agencies too much looking into the water situation and we have a water problem?
Yeah, because it will result in different approach by these various agencies. No? So without proper coordination, and I believe an apex agency like a Department of Water is one way, no, to spearhead, no, the proper approach, a more comprehensive approach in securing the water for our people.
I think some senators will be pushing for this and congressmen as soon as the 18th Congress begins. Maraming salamat kay NWRB Executive Director Sevillo David Jr. Maraming salamat. Thank you, sir. And thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines. Sir, sino ba?